Welcome to this explainer. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. ISO 14001-2026 Annex A10 sounds like just about the driest topic on the planet, right? But honestly, it's actually the secret code auditors use to figure out if a company's environmental management system is truly sustainable or if they're, well, just faking it. Today, we're going to dive deep into exactly how lead auditors use this specific, powerful annex to evaluate the true maturity, depth, and sustainability of an organization's continuous improvement programs. It's a really fascinating look past the basic everyday compliance checklist and into what actually drives sustainable organizational excellence. Let's get into it.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start by decoding Annex A10, then compare root causes versus symptoms, look at evaluating corrective action sustainability, driving organizational learning, and finally, judging continual improvement maturity.
All right, part 1, decoding Annex A10, beyond superficial compliance.
Now, continual improvement isn't just fixing an isolated problem, and it's definitely not just checking off a box to keep an auditor happy. As Annex A10 makes crystal clear, it has to be a continuous, structured, and completely evidence-based approach that is embedded deeply within a business's operational culture. Think of it like a dynamic systemic evolution perfectly aligned with the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle. If an organization just closes an audit finding, wipes their hands, and stops there, well, they are completely missing the intent of this entire clause.
Moving right along to Section 2, root causes versus symptoms, the iceberg's surface.
I want you to think about this for a second. Is human error ever the true root cause of an environmental nonconformity? You know, when an auditor sees a chemical spill or a wastewater discharge violation, the initial, easy answer almost always points to an operator just making a silly mistake. But an auditor applying Annex A10, they have to approach this almost like a detective story. They have to ask if human error is the actual root cause, or just a service-level symptom of a much, much larger systemic failure.
It really is the classic Band-Aid versus cure scenario. Let's say a chemical spill happens because of an operator's oversight. That's the symptom. Sticking a Band-Aid on it by just retraining that one specific person, well, it's like trying to put a Band-Aid on while you're swimming, right? It simply won't last. The true root cause usually lies in unclear procedures, completely outdated training materials, and a total lack of competence verification by leadership. Annex A10 absolutely requires organizations to cure that systemic root cause to prevent the issue from ever popping up again.
So, to find that actual cure, auditors are actively looking for a highly structured response. They want to see organizations navigate these 4 steps seamlessly, starting from the identification of the nonconformity, going down into a deep root cause analysis, moving to corrective action implementation, and finally, and honestly, most importantly, effectiveness verification. That right there is how you ensure a problem is solved sustainably.
Which brings us to Section 3, evaluating corrective action sustainability, ensuring the cure lasts.
If you track the life cycle of an effective corrective action, it reveals a pretty interesting story over time. Look at this. On day 1, a process modification successfully reduces waste. Awesome, that's a great start. But at month 3, an auditor wants to see actual performance indicators showing sustained improvement. By month 6, management review needs to step in and verify that this fix is actually contributing to broader strategic goals. And fast forward to year 1, updated documentation and continuous employee competence absolutely must be confirmed. This sequence is crucial because it proves to the auditor that the action wasn't just a temporary duct tape fix, but a permanent evolution of the entire system. But here's the catch. It goes completely beyond just holding the line. Corrective actions must address changing environmental conditions and organizational context. Because, let's face it, solving yesterday's problem is simply not enough in a rapidly shifting world. Your corrective actions need to be robust enough to anticipate emerging environmental risks, shifting regulatory frameworks, and of course, rapid technological changes.
All right, Section 4, driving true organizational learning, institutionalizing the knowledge.
When something goes wrong, say a hazardous material incident happens, those lessons learned shouldn't just stay locked up in the warehouse. Annex 8.10 demands that this new knowledge ripples outward across the whole company. We're talking updating employee training programs, revising operational control procedures, and even guiding future technological investments and informing strategic decision-making. That integrated knowledge sharing, expanding to emergency preparedness and across literally all departments, is exactly how you stop a warehouse issue from repeating itself in the manufacturing plant a month later.
Look at this split here. In a truly mature system, you'll generally find a 20-80 breakdown.
While reacting to immediate fires takes up about 20% of the effort, which, is unavoidable sometimes, a massive 80% is dedicated strictly to systemic prevention and organizational learning. It's all about moving decisively from a frantic, reactive firefighting stance to a proactive, highly engaged, learning-driven culture.
And that takes us to the deepest layer. Section 5, Judging Continual Improvement Maturity.
The difference between an immature and mature continual improvement program is literally night and day. As you can see, immature systems are reactive, they operate in silos, and they treat data as just another routine administrative chore to maintain a static baseline. Mature systems, on the other hand, are highly proactive and integrated. They use data for real strategic decision-making to constantly push boundaries and enhance performance across all departments simultaneously.
Ultimately, it really all boils down to this fundamental shift in mindset. Continual improvement is not a one-time corrective action. It is a structured approach embedded within organizational culture. True continual improvement requires absolute, unwavering leadership commitment to weave environmental responsibility right into the very fabric of how the organization operates, every single day.
And when this culture actually takes root, the results are undeniable. The data speaks for itself. Incident frequencies drop significantly, but more importantly, innovation initiatives and proactive employee engagement just skyrocket. When employees start actively identifying ways to reduce energy or minimize waste completely on their own without being told, that's when the system is thriving and has achieved true organizational maturity.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought. As you evaluate environmental management systems, are your environmental improvements merely temporary band-aids? Or are they the systemic cure that drives sustainable organizational maturity? Are you satisfied with surface-level compliance? Or are you ready to dive deep and drive true, sustainable organizational excellence? Thanks so much for joining us on this explainer. Keep diving deep.